I think they still play the Niners, despite that last comment that they're both in. They still have to play the game. It's not, the season isn't over, but that was yet another game, Mr. David, that Saturday night we'll talk all about, and goodness gracious, all anyone in town's talking about is that. But that was a little nervous-making at the end if you knew they were getting in and you had to wait for that last play.
Good morning, Mully. Yes, Victory Monday. A little anxious moments there at the end of the Lions game. But bottom line is,
Bears in.
Bears are in the playoffs. What happened Saturday night was a rare occasion and the best of moments in Chicago sports. And certainly...
Ever?
No, it's not ever. Certainly,
yeah, championships. It
was one of those.
It's the only thing.
It was the best of times on Saturday night. One of those moments that people will remember where they were when it happened, and it was a great atmosphere. And the game delivered. The Bears came through, and there's going to be a playoff game for the Bears this season. Where it will be, we'll wait and see. But they have every reason to believe that all things are on the table.
Not to get all Dickens on you, but it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. The only part of that game,
not in that order,
what we've decided not to talk about.
Yeah, the worst of times
that was awful.
Preceded the best of times, and it made the best of times feel even better.
It did.
There was plenty of good, better, best, and there was plenty of bad as well.
Oh, I got to tell you, the combination of the post-game locker rooms, Mr. David, from the good, better, best. DJ Moore wearing a cheese grater on his head.
I like the new fashion statement there.
That was awesome.
DJ Moore with the cheese grater hat.
But the Packers, too. The post-game from the flower was,
Well, if you're Green Bay, imagine that.
No, I can't.
They basically blew the game.
They choked.
They had it in hand. And had they executed just in one of several times that we will go through in great detail, because all of the things from the onside kick to the 4th and 4 to the overtime breakdown, the Packers had within their power the opportunity to seize the moment, and they didn't. They will regret that. Maybe as they stay home for the playoffs, but the Bears don't care. Chicagoans, it doesn't matter. The Bears are back officially.
We should do one of those. Like, what was your favorite awful moment for Green Bay? What was the killer moment that you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, we're not going to debate whether or not the Packers lost more than the Bears won the game. But in Green Bay, they could be having that debate, and they would be understandable. Yes,
David. I hate to say this, but after I finished the post-game show at midnight and I went upstairs and I had Dave on, I watched some of the post-game show that they did, and I had a drink. I poured myself a drink, and I started going online and just reading comments on the Green Bay stories and on the videos, and there were like so many calls for Matt LaFleur's job. It was comical how angry the Packer fans were about that. But I mean, that is what happens in the NFL. They lost. They were already down a bunch of players.
It is comical.
Jordan Love goes.
It is comical
really?
Because we could sit here and talk about the squandered opportunity.
Yes.
And at the same time, objectively remember they were without Micah Parsons, their starting offensive tackle, their starting safety, and then they lost Jordan Love.
Yes.
And they were back to so many backups in key positions.
Oh, my gosh.
And yet they took the Bears down to the final play. And none of that matters now, but it's funny to see the reaction in Green Bay because people will forget that immediately.
I mean, you know, the aborted snap, the fumbled snap in overtime was a backup center snapping to a backup quarterback.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, don't you think things like that are possible?
It's bound to happen, and that's what the Bears can point to. They just they persevered, and then they celebrated, and all those things.
Unbelievable.
You know, they're still a football team with every goal still intact, and they can dream as big as they want. But
unbelievable.
They did have moments in that game that you know the football gods are smiling on the Bears.
No question.
There's a reason why they're talking about the team of destiny post game, because they really believe in some of these fluky things that you can't account for when you're analyzing, predicting football games.
No, you can't. You can't rely upon that to happen in the way that it did. Nonetheless, the very fact that Caleb Williams managed to become the first ever Bears quarterback to both throw a touchdown at the end of regulation, followed by a game winner in overtime. If you didn't appreciate that statistic, you never will. Any statistic.
That's a great number. There are other numbers that support this idea.
Everywhere. Yeah.
What we're seeing is a Chicago sports star coming of age.
Yes.
And somebody who is arriving, I don't want to say ahead of schedule, but perhaps on schedule. He has not missed an NFL start. And on Saturday night, you were able to appreciate how far he has come and what his real value is. It is in the clutch when he shines best.
And we'll get through this and we'll go over all of it. But if you watch a replay, they're calling him the Iceman because of how he's got ice in his veins. He throws that pass. While it's in the air, he puts his hands into the pocket.
Watches
He's
it.
warming his hands as it goes down.
He savors.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you? Then when he does he goes around the crowd. He runs around the stadium. I mean, what? What do you want a guy to do?
It was storybook.
How do you want him to behave?
It was storybook, and it was like it was out of a script.
It was
from
incredible.
The way things unfolded and what had to happen, and then the way they handled it. It was impromptu glee when you saw DJ Moore and then Stacey Dales on the NFL Network interviewing one bear at a time, and they were interrupting each other because they were just so happy.
And
everybody was so happy. And then you're right, Caleb starts to do the lap.
Oh, that was huge.
High-fiving with people who that made their year.
Oh, no doubt about it.
It was an early Merry Christmas for all Bears fans. And the ones who paid a pretty penny to watch that felt like it was worth every bit.
He also, after he put his hands in, when everyone came over to congratulate him, he did like a little burr, like he was cold from this ice in his veins. I got to tell you.
He leans into it.
There was so many.
He leans into it.
If you're a Bears fan, there were so many just fantastic moments. I mean, maybe the best collection of moments we've seen from DJ Moore with the cheese grater. The whole thing was phenomenal.
Without overstating it, and we'll talk about this throughout the show, kind of put it in some historical perspective, but because it was at Soldier Field and it was the Packers and what it meant to Ben Johnson's first season, which feels somewhat magical at the moment, I don't remember anything close to being this kind of celebration or this kind of gravity since they won the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
Against the Saints on that field, and Virginia McCaskey was there hoisting her father's trophy that was named after him, and it was because of what that represented on Saturday night. You're getting to the playoffs. That was the expectation. You beat the Packers, kind of vanquished that. It was the first time in 7 years, and then the way that it happened only enhanced that it happened. And so I was thinking, and we both have been around a long time, and you've covered more Bears games than I have, but I've been here for over 20 years. I can't remember a home victory at Soldier Field creating that kind of magical reaction and that kind of that just euphoria in the moment.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. There's only one that comes to my mind, and I was fairly young at the time, and I was at the NFC Championship game in the stands when the Bears made it to the Super Bowl in '85. And there was a play where the defense, I want to say it was Wilbur Marshall picked up a fumble,
right, and
he took off to score a touchdown. And Dan Hampton was sitting in the center of the sea, and he looked like a little kid. He started banging hands and heels on the ground, and it started snowing. It was almost like, cue the Christmas shake, and
that's the reaction
unbelievable.
You saw from. That's a great memory because a lot of people listening to us are nodding their heads who can remember that season, and that was magic, and that was '85, and we all know what that represents still.
Right.
But not that this season is going to end in a Super Bowl, but what happened on Saturday night made you think that it was possible.
I got to tell you, I just got to tell you, listen, it's a regular season game. You got to keep everything in perspective, and you can't get, but the many, and we'll go over it, all the little things that had to work for
the domino effect.
It was absolutely extraordinary. How do you get an onside kick? How does that happen in the world?
How do you get an onside kick? How do you call a play designed to go to an undrafted rookie free agent
Incredible.
who made his first NFL catch earlier in the game, and then he catches a touchdown, and then you go into overtime, and you rely on people who are paid to do what DJ Moore did, and that is to come down with the play of the night, and really it's the biggest clutch play of the season. And DJ Moore, for all that we have talked about and discussed, where has he been? How does he fit?
Tell you, man.
How do you like their chemistry now?
he had moment after moment himself.
Yeah,
we'll
he did.
Get into that. I got to tell you, the thing that there was a moment when Ben Johnson was giving out the game balls, and he's got one game ball left, and he turns to Caleb, and he's like, Caleb, I love you, but this is not for you. And they fist bump.
Yeah.
I thought that, and then Caleb at the microphone saying he's got the best coach in the world. I got to tell you, all these moments that you link together,
they've come a long way
this season.
Absolutely,
and it's exactly what the coach said. They'll be playing their best football later in the year. They're going to come together. There'll be a buy-in. I mean.
Because of the way that they have grown together.
Yes.
And it's really great symmetry how the season will end against the Lions at home, because it was against the Lions in Detroit where you started to wonder at the time, like, wow, how far away are they from really being what Ben Johnson wants them to be as a football team? And they regrouped and they reconnected, and that relationship, which is, we have said since day one, the most important one at Hallis Hall, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams.
Yes.
You saw Saturday night evidence of just how strong it's become.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. It really is something to see, because this is what Bears fans can relate to. This is what happens everywhere else except for here. But now it's happening here.
I know this is all superfluous stuff, but I got to wonder what happens to Green Bay. Like, is Jordan Love in concussion protocol? Does he play next week?
They're in trouble.
Could they be in trouble? Because as much as the Lions got the Bears in the playoffs last night by losing, they also are still alive. They could win their final two games provided Green Bay loses the two. And even though Green Bay beat them twice, Detroit gets in. So I just think that there are little things left to happen. And I mean, the Lions could come in here with a shot at the playoffs if they play the Bears. And the Bears, they've got some vengeance in their hearts after what happened in week 2.
Well, there's no way they're going to take that game lightly.
No.
There's no way they're going to look at that game as one that should be used to rest people. I can't imagine that scenario.
Could be for the number one seed.
It could be for the number one seed, and the Lions are still playing for something because they can't afford to lose. The Packers, I believe, despite how well Malik Willis played when pressed into action, obviously you want Jordan Love healthy, and he's just not.
No, he's not.
And you don't know. This isn't an ankle you can gut through. This isn't a hamstring you can play through. A concussion, as quickly as they diagnosed it and as quickly as you knew that he was compromised,
he was out.
Wonder.
I was told he was out on the field, that he lost consciousness.
That was the word circulating post-game. Did not look into it but that reality makes you think that he could be off another Sunday.
Oh, he could be off another 2. Who knows? We'll see. A lot of those Packers tried to gut it out, including Josh Jacobs. And what happened there? That guy was the guy that fumbled on the goal line.
Well, you wonder what happened there. He was not the same runner he was the first time around.
No.
And, for all the Packers' problems and the way that they did contribute to the Bears' victory, you might see them again.
You might see them again.
You could see them again.
You could see them here again.
They could sneak in as the seventh seed. If the Bears are number 2, you're going to see a rematch.
The backup offensive line of Green Bay had a night. They ran the football all night long. The Bears, we were back to pre-bye run defense somehow, and that was frightening. Now, I want to be careful about criticizing the defense because they held them to 16 points. And as we know, every defense in the NFL, the goal is always the same. You want to keep them under 17. I'm talking about the best defenses. They managed to do that. The Packers going 0 for 5 in the red zone was unbelievable. The fact that if they hadn't gone for it, if they hadn't fumbled, just pick up a field goal or two, might have been a significantly different ending to the game, but man, the Bears came back and won that game, and it was spectacular.
The Packers controlled the clock by just continuing to run the football, 191 rushing yards.
Oh yeah,
and they weren't able to capitalize on controlling the line of scrimmage.
No, they couldn't score.
The Bears had 3 offensive series.
I know
in the first half. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you look at what they were unable to do in the first half, and the Packers did not capitalize on all of that, having accomplished that with backups.
I know.
And the Bears understood what was going on. At one time in the red zone, they deployed a defense. I don't know if they've used much before. 5 defensive linemen just trying to stop the Packer running game in short yardage situations, and the Packers did not take advantage in the red zone. That was the ball game.
That was the ball game. But David, before the extraordinary comeback, before that overtime, before the Bears, when they were down 10 with whatever from, I think they didn't score the field goal till below the 2-minute warning. But at that point in the game, when you're trailing by 10 to that team, you couldn't help but wonder, is this the worst loss, not just of the season, but this is as bad a loss as we've ever seen from the Bears, given all the advantages they had and the way that they allowed the clock to be done. I mean, it was that bad. It was really that bad up to that point.
It would have been a terribly different tone.
It turned out to be a miraculous.
Yeah. Well, it turned out to be one of those evenings that was unforgettable because of the way that they did it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it almost had, because it was so good, because it did at one point seem so bad. And it was the dramatic change in emotion and the swing and momentum that made you feel like it was something you were watching that you hadn't seen before. And so
unbelievable.
You did have that feeling, that sense that you walked away, wow, I don't think it gets much better than this.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it was incredible. You're listening to a Plumber's 911 Football Monday presented by Busey Bank and great clips. It might be as glorious a regular season victory Monday as we've seen in a very long time, in part because it was the Packers, in part because it was the 11th win, in part because they end up in the playoffs after it.
We use the next day. The Dennis Green soundbite a lot.
Yes.
They are who we thought they were.
Yes.
And that was after the signature victory of the 2006 season when the Bears beat the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona by coming back, and the details are basically the offense stunk, the defense scored.
But they are who we thought they were.
And
we got them off the hook.
Rest in peace, Dennis Green. That was in October of 2006. And Mully, I believe that this was the most impactful, memorable, meaningful regular season victory since that one. Because that
game got Brian Urlacher into the Hall of Fame. It wasn't the only one.
I don't know if this is going to get anybody into the Hall of Fame, but it certainly could be the one.
Who gets into the Hall of Fame?
Well,
3-1.
Yeah, I think you're going to look back and maybe point to this one as the moment something special started.
Well, I think that it's probably the moment that people are acknowledging that their quarterback is really damn good.
Could be that.
It may have taken that. We got some texts and some calls saying that in the post game show. Like
immediately after,
I was still worried about Caleb. He's the man. It meant a lot to a lot of people because of the circumstances.
Well, he had more people to win over than Ben Johnson, but I think in the context of both of their Bears tenures and careers, this will be a point where it feels like a milestone. It feels like one of these before and after type of events.
It feels like their first 11-win season together.
And it was, and 11 wins. I think there's only one of us who probably had them winning 11 games.
That's right. Take a bow, Dustin. I think you had them winning 12, didn't you?
That's a pretty good
prediction. Maybe that was last year.
No, I think it was 11.
And what was last year? Was it 12?
I think 11 as well.
Double digits. If you predicted the Bears would win double digits in Ben Johnson's first season, congratulations.
Yeah.
Because that's a lofty goal. It was ambitious thinking. But now it seems like, wow,
It's unbelievable.
The best is yet to come.